Hello, Casey Wilson, owner of Roseville Strength and Conditioning, and this is my co-host of the Do or Do Not podcast.
Brad Erie,
All right,
co-owner of nothing really.
Co-owner of you're responsible for kids.
Yes, co-owner of Kids that I helped make.
You ever watch Mr. Mom?
I love that movie.
That was a great movie. You're Mr. Mom.
I am.
All right, so hopefully the audio sounds good. We're working on one microphone. We're trying to. Last time Brad's mic wasn't working and he sounded like crap, and I sounded amazing because my microphone is awesome.
Probably the way it should be.
But so hopefully everything sounds good. We're in a small room, so it should work pretty good. So this week,
let's do it.
Are you all caught up on Rings of Power?
No.
Okay.
I always give a little buffer.
Or did you watch all last week's? Not the one that I think one just came out.
I haven't watched any Rings of Power yet. I like the 4-week.
Come on, dude.
No.
I was tired last night and I watched the 4th episode of Bad Monkey.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the 5th one because it just recently came out, but I watched the 4th one.
I watched the 3rd one.
Talk about it. God.
Let's do Bad Monkey.
I'm behind, man. I skipped watching Expedition Bigfoot for this shit.
Well, let's watch the. Hey, this is live and it's happening. You can talk about.
Anyway, Rings of Power.
Yeah. Total BS.
No,
it's not like the book. Stick to the canon, jerks. We don't need a sexy Sauron, a sexy acolyte Sauron, skinny dipping in a lake.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows that they just crapped all over the canon. What did Kathleen Kennedy switch over to the Lord of the Rings franchise and piss over that too? I mean, I could totally do this all day. Come on.
Pretty good without watching it.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Honestly, I've never read the books, so I don't know what stuff happens. But what happened, what I'd like to say is the Rings of Power has inspired me to go back this week. And over a 2-night period, I watched the Fellowship of the Rings and then Two Towers and then Return of the King. So I watched all again. And it's been years since I had watched all 3 of them, especially in a short period of time.
They still hold up, right? I mean,
they're so good. I couldn't stop watching.
I know.
So what happened was on Monday night, I'm sitting there and it popped up I was on Amazon and it said, I go, man, I should really go back and watch those. It's like, I'll start watching it. So I start watching it and then I get to the end of it and I'm like, they're so fucking long. And I get to the end of it, I'm like, I'm going to start watching it. I watched about 40 minutes of Two Towers and I hit pause and went to bed because I had to get up early in the morning for work. So the next night I go and I watch the rest of Two Towers. And I put on Return of the King after I get home from work. And I'm up till midnight because I'm just like, I get to 11 and I go, I didn't get tired. So it was like 11 and I was like on, I should just go to bed. But I got 45 minutes left to go. I'm just going to go. And, by the time it gets done, I get to bed. It's like midnight and I'm tired the next day. But it's so good. I forget how good those movies are and how you just really, if all these people would just, that are in Hollywood and stop trying to make generic shit and just take stuff and do good writing, good screenplays off of books, not try to insert all your own shit. The writing has to be good and the story has to be good. Like Rings of Power, I watch it and I don't know all the Tolkien nerds, we'll call them, because we're Star Wars nerds and we're going to talk in a little while about, another book that I read that's a Star Wars book that I hadn't read before.
Yep.
So I'm an admitted Star Wars nerd, but I'm not a Tolkien nerd. I never read the books.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going by the movies.
Those books too are deep. They're
big. And it's the reason why I've never read them, because they're a lot of subject matter. And I'm always like, I don't know if I want to watch that. And then I saw the movies. I'm like, I don't need to read the books. But then after knowing how much I know about, I've read so many hundreds of hours of Star Wars books and how good it could be and how shitty Disney has made it. Then you go, man, maybe I should read the Tolkien books and the Game of Thrones books and the Harry Potter books, because I'm just going by what has been put out there. Although I know Lord of the Ring trilogy was great. I watched The Hobbit 1, 2. It wasn't nearly as good.
That they could have made that as like 1.5 movies instead of 3.
Yeah, it was real not nearly as good.
I will
as the
say-
first one. I do remember that, but I am going to go back and watch those 3 again
Yeah.
just because it's been so long.
I think that the Lord of the Rings trilogy was the first trilogy movie that even the book nerds were like, he did it right. Like,
Yeah, Peter Jackson did a
yeah,
great
like
job.
the way he interpreted it, the way he brought it to life was like, yeah, no notes. Like
Yeah.
I remember when that was coming out, because one of my best friends at the time was a Tolkien nerd, and he was like, yeah, that was like, I saw why he did what he did, and he's like, perfect.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember any.
All the Tolkien nerds are not saying that about the Rings of Power.
No,
They're
no.
like, they're fucking it up. And it's like, and I'm like, I don't know.
I'm all for it.
I'm like, all right. But there's stuff in it where you're sitting there going, I mean, you're you're watching a character like Celebrimbor. I do not like.
Yeah.
The guy who makes the rings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of the character that they're portraying on there. He's just so malleable, and he wants adulation and
Mhm.
for his acknowledgement of what he's capable of and his skill set and stuff. And it's like, I don't know. Now Elrond,
Yeah.
I like that, and he's obviously the
Yeah.
king of the elves and the later in the Lord of the Ring books, and Galadriel's real like weird, like she's flopped back and forth, kind of like on the Acolyte. You see some flip flopping. So, I mean, the actress that plays the younger Galadriel is much more attractive than the Galadriel from the Lord of the Rings. But
I mean, the one in the Lord of the Rings is like what,
how do-
24,000 years old?
But these elves are supposedly still really old.
Yeah.
Old then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And how can Sauron pull the wool over your eyes? And it was almost like some of the writing. It was almost like he didn't have to do anything because she was the person that basically she made up his story, and he didn't
Yeah.
have to make up much of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
She told him he was the king, and all of a sudden he just went along with everything. So there's some stuff, and there was a scene where Celebrimbor.
Yeah.
So they make the point, and I was watching this, and I was just like, and I didn't understand it, but they made the point of having him walk out with his big umbrella when it was pouring rain. People were carrying the umbrella for him,
Yeah.
like servants or whatever, warriors. I don't know. They walk out and they got this big old elaborate umbrella, and then he's soaking wet by the time the scene gets over. It's like, why are you standing out in the rain when you got a big old fucking umbrella and you made an effort to bring it out here? It doesn't make any sense.
Freaking Kathleen Kennedy. That's why.
I don't know. There's just little things where you're watching it and I don't know the story and I don't
Yeah.
know what they're screwing up, and this
Yeah.
character shouldn't even be brought forth in this age and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like I haven't watched anything recently. Like when the first 3 episodes came out, like I watched some stuff and they were like, episode 1 was this and all this stuff happened. And I was like, I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm just like watching it going, I liked it. It was all right.
Yeah.
It wasn't something I was like, now, am I into it like I was into Lord of the Rings where I spent 10 hours or 11 hours in 2 nights watching them and just couldn't stop watching? No. So I know that there's a disconnect there where it's not as good, but I like it so far. It's all right. I'll continue to watch it throughout, and it has that feel of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. Just there's there's something missing. There's not a
It's like a diet
you're not
Peter
as connected.
Jackson.
Yeah, you're not as connected, and they should be able to tell a more elaborate story in a series form.
Well, here's why I've put it off. I've read plenty of people who did watch the series.
Yeah, but we can't talk about it together on here if you're not watching it.
I know, but I'm gonna watch it this weekend. The first couple episodes are real slow-ish.
Yeah.
And then the last remaining episodes where you get to see the thousands of extras, like they're gonna have some of the biggest battle scenes ever filmed for a TV series. That's where they spent all the money on, and everyone's like, "Hey, man!" Like the first episodes are like, "Yeah, it's good," and the other ones are gonna be like, "Holy crap! This is what battle is going to be." Everyone has been talking so much about the size of the battles and the scope of what's coming, and I'm like, okay, I'm in. But I'm trying to
right now they're just the dwarves haven't got their rings yet. The humans haven't. I mean, where's this battle going to take place?
I don't know, but they said that there was like some guy estimated 20-some thousand extras that they were
Didn't it just
doing.
CGI it in?
No, I'm sure they're CGI, but they're like, they set all kinds of records, and people who have watched it said like it's awesome.
Well, I'm looking forward to that then, because I haven't
So,
heard that. I haven't
yeah.
heard. I honestly just, there was one I watch one thing weekly. I always forget. Oh, Friday Night Tights. I've watched that. I haven't watched any other stuff, but they talked about it right after it came out.
Yeah.
And so some of the stuff they said, and I walk in and out of the room when that's on,
Yeah.
so I don't pay that close of attention. But they were really ripping it. The guy who's kind of really neurotic, I think is what his name is.
That is a great name.
Yeah, he's like, I guess, I don't know that much about these people, but they're entertaining and they're funny, and they say like, they're kind of like where we just get on here and we're having fun. So they're doing it for a bit. They have a lot more people. Like they joke about not having 100. The guys who don't have 100,000 followers that are doing it, you know. So I mean, we do this more for fun, and we've just been doing it for you know, off and on for a year and a half. But they do it, you know, they're putting out content every day. That's their job, is putting out content on social media and on YouTube.
That'd be such a good job.
The big show that they have, you know, the Friday Night Tights, I think is what it's called. They talked about it, and I picked up some feedback on there where they're like, this is complete writing crap, and it's horrible, it's slow, it's boring, but I think there was somebody on there. I walked in the room and they were making fun of her a little bit, where she goes, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't dislike it. She goes, but I'm not one of the Tolkien people.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the same boat that I'm in. I'm not one of the Tolkien people. I'm like going, it's not my favorite. It's not like, I think the first season, especially of Wheel of Time, I thought I liked it. I was into it. Like when the new episode came out, I watched it that day. I was into it. The second season, it kind of,
I didn't know there was a second season.
Yeah. It just kind of like I don't know. It wasn't as good. Yeah. But the Rings of Power, the first season, I thought it was good. I was going, I'm looking forward to the second season.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like one of those shows where I'm like, oh crap, I gotta.
It's on. Yeah, we got to wrap up this group.
It's on tonight.
We're going
know
home.
What I mean, like, so when Ahsoka, I was really into Ahsoka. I know some people don't like Ahsoka, and that's fine. But I like it because I'm a big Thrawn fan. You know, I've had my critiques of it. I'm not a huge fan of the character or the actor. The actor's a really good actor who plays Thrawn.
Yeah.
But that's not the guy in the books.
No.
You know, so the guy in the books is a fighting badass. This Thrawn looks like he would break if you punched him.
He probably would, but you know what?
You know, so the guy.
I'll take any Thrawn I can get.
I know, but I think he plays the character well. I think his tone and his voice, because he does it in Rebels. He's the same guy who does the voice acting in the Rebels. And he's a good actor. He's a well-known actor. You know, his brothers are also actors. Mickelson
all of them.
They're all good actors. So I don't have a problem with his acting ability. He just doesn't look like Thrawn. He should have put on about 15 pounds of muscle, been pumping some growth hormone and steroids, and not have. And they did the uniform like funky looking. You know those pants that they just make you look retarded.
They were just trying to cover up his bad body.
Make him look like he's an actual fucking military warrior. You know what I mean? Because you have your warrior cast. But in the Chiss, I know he's in the Empire in this.
Yeah.
But if you in the books, in the Chiss, I mean, their commanders and stuff are trained. They're trained fighters. I mean, so I just got done reading, you know, that stuff. So I'm totally into that.
Before we go to that, do you think there are?
We're not going to that yet. That's
Lord of the Rings people watching the Acolyte. Like, you know what? You know, Acolyte's pretty good. It's not like they're crapping all over our show.
The Acolyte was so poorly written, and the actors were such pieces of crap. You know, like, and if you even watch the original 6, and even if you watch the crappy trilogy, even Acolyte is 10 times worse than that. It's the worst thing I've ever watched. Where you're sitting there, I was sitting there going, "This is Star Wars," and I wouldn't have watched it especially after the 3rd episode. I wouldn't have finished the series if we weren't doing the podcast and Brad hadn't screwed me over by going,
"That's what I do.
You gotta watch it. We're gonna do podcasts," and he's like, "I can't do it. I'm out of town. I'm in Ohio. I got this going on." So then I ended up watching the whole damn thing for the podcast, and then we didn't even do a podcast about it. But with that being said, it was a horrible piece of shit, and I don't think the Rings of Power is as bad as the Acolyte.
No.
The actors are pretty good. There's not a lot of there's The dwarf stuff I'm not super fond of. I gotta be honest, the dwarves kind of irritate me. But besides, like Gimli was awesome
Yeah.
but these dwarfs are a little whinier bitches and like not quite as like I don't know. I'm just the dwarfs disappoint me. I guess the elves don't. I mean, the elves are
cool.
the elves are like not as good as but the elves are like dying or like they're going away in the Lord of the Rings. You know, they're not like this is still like they almost went away in Rings of Power. You'll see, but you know. Anyway, I like it. All right. Let's talk Bad Monkey. You watched 3 episodes, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm loving some Bad Monkey.
Oh yeah, episode 4 really locks down the first 3. You'll see when you watch episode 4, but they go, all right, there's no real need for a review because this episode is the review. Like they're going to go back through almost the whole thing, right? Now the great
can't go 4, hold it in.
Right. Let's just say, you know, the morgue lady who's helping.
Yeah, Rosa. Okay, that's all you need to say.
Yeah,
she's hot.
Her and Vince.
Yep.
They get down.
That's great. This show, all right. Like you got on it, and you told me, and I'm like, I'm just gonna watch one because you know, and then I like watched all 3. Like boom, boom, boom.
There's 5 now. The 5th one is out. It just like I thought there was only 4 out, and I got done with 4, and then went into 5. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna I gotta watch Expedition Bigfoot, and then I got too tired and fell asleep.
I mean, Bigfoot becomes before Monkey.
So, I like Expedition Bigfoot. I love those shows.
They the narrator voice guy is awesome. Even the recaps, like I'll watch the recaps. So you didn't watch the first one, huh?
It's really good. So they like have like 2 divergent stories.
Yeah,
but they bring them together and like they really start tying them in. And in episode 4, you really get the picture of everything that's going on. Right? It's good. It's like the backstory gets done in episode 4.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, we'll get more in depth into it next time. Vince Vaughn is great. The chick who plays the coroner lady she's Hispanic or Cuban or whatever. I don't know. She's of that descent. And she's not like a perfect petite, like she's gorgeous, beautiful face, beautiful hair, big rack. But, you know, like not somebody you'd go, oh, look, she has the perfect body. She has a little bit of pounds. She's not like super skinny or anything. Just really a sexy woman. If you like a woman.
Yep.
And her attitude, and she's kind of like, you know, it's got a little bit of that tough exterior and interior, you know, a little bit.
Her and what's his name have such good chemistry.
That's on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yep. From the time that they meet in episode 1, it's great. Yeah.
So I mean, episode 4, when you watch it, dude, I'm telling you, you're gonna send me a message going, "Oh shit!" Now I get what you were saying.
I'm watching it today.
Yeah. So you'll send me a message going, "Oh, I know what you mean now, dude. Holy crap, that brings it all together." So now I'm really excited to see how they wrap the whole thing up.
See what happens when there's good writing and good story. You glow about it.
So Bad Monkey, watch it. It's on Apple Plus. I highly recommend it. Even if you just wait a couple weeks and get Apple Plus, and then just binge watch it.
Binge watch it.
You know, if you don't have Apple Plus already, because it is worth it. This guy would recommend some other shows for you on Apple Plus. I probably will not. There's not. Let's see what. There was one show I really liked but I don't know, like The Foundation.
Yeah.
It kind of
it's slow. You got to really get it.
I was really into it after the first season, and then when I started watching it again, I was just like, it's just
you got to be into it.
It's just not that great. But anyway,
there's a show.
And I know there's some other shows they have that I just like. I'm kind of like
the World War II pilots.
Oh, that one. I watched that one. I watched that all the way through. That's a great.
That was a good one. See, Man of the High Castle. That was good. Oh no, that's Amazon. See was good. You got to watch all the way to season 5.
Yeah, I watched the first season and then just a little bit into the second season of C, and I just was like, you have to like keep growing the characters or growing the story.
If more people can see in different sides and how they hide it and how that they exploit it.
I don't know. Some of the you'd really like post-apocalyptic shit.
Yeah.
I don't like it as much.
Yeah.
Like it's not really my bag.
It's one of your few flaws.
Yeah, I'm not really into zombies, and I don't like the post-apocalyptic stuff unless it's done really well.
Yeah.
I thought Fallout was pretty good.
I loved Fallout.
I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't something I was like, oh man, I really got to watch that. But there's shows that just don't do it for me that do it for some people, like The Boys. The Boys just doesn't really do it for me. I'm not into it that much. I mean,
A lot of it goes so over the top that it turns a lot of people off.
yeah,
So you're not the only one, but it fits me. But then again, I've read the comic.
I watched the first
came out.
season of The Boys, and I was like, I liked it. So when season 2 came out, I started watching. And after a few episodes, I was done.
It gets so much more gross as the seasons go on.
I'm sure it does. That's what I heard.
It really goes.
But I'm just like, I guess I'm getting to a point to where something has to be really good for me to really get into it, because we had a golden age of them making really good stuff. When we look back on our 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s, stuff was really well. I mean, you watch The Lord of the Rings, you go, that could come out the movie theater today and make the same amount of money or more. Because that's how good it is. Maybe a few CGI things they would do differently nowadays would make it better. But in general, you could put that movie out now. Even when you watch Star Wars from the 70s, you go, yeah, they could make it a lot better with CGI stuff, but it's still, some of the stuff they did with models and stuff make it look realistic. Some of it's a little hokey and you can tell what they're doing with models. But in general, you really like it.
So what you're saying is that Peak TV peaked with Knight Rider, A-Team, and Airwolf. And it's all gone downhill from there.
I tell you, that episodic storytelling was legit,
right?
Because they always had like that show.
Yeah.
But a lot of them had overarching stories too.
Yeah.
And so you have it, I liked a lot. You and I loved it. That's what we grew up on.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I don't know what happened so I'm waiting for the Tom Selleck autobiography to come out.
Yeah.
It's coming out and they keep saying pre-order. And I go, all right, it's coming out in September now.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was coming out earlier and now it's coming out in September. And then I went to go, oh, it should be out, I think September 3rd. I go to go, now it's in November. It's pre-sale to November. And I'm like going, are they having a problem with the book or something?
How soon are you going to devour that book? Like, it's
just
straight through. You're just going to be like, hey, shut up, stop talking.
Listening, kids. Magnum PI was my favorite TV show, number one on my list, remember?
Yep.
Of all time. I own them on DVD.
Yeah.
And I've watched them all, I don't know how many times. My kids got into it for a while because I would put them on.
Yeah.
Just awesome show. And I loved some of his movies. I like Quigley Down Under, one of my favorite Westerns of all time. So I mean, I love Tom Selleck, so I was waiting for that. I'm not a big Blue Bloods. I tried watching that, and it's really good.
You're not over 65 yet.
Yeah, but it was a little.
All right, I got a question for you. You might know.
Formatic. I thought Law and Order does it better.
Yeah. There was a Tom Cruise movie that I love that I cannot think of the name, and I want to watch it. And I think you might know. All right, we're going to test your Tom Selleck.
Tom Selleck or Tom Cruise?
Tom Selleck. I'm sorry, I'm old.
Okay.
Tom Selleck. All right, this is going to test you now. We're going to see. There was a movie where Tom Selleck was a pilot of like the dual wing propeller plane, like one of the first old timey planes. And
High Road to China.
That's the name of it. Yes, that's what I want to watch. I remember watching that thinking, this is the best movie I've ever seen. And I could never think of the movie.
I've seen them all.
That's it.
That was a good one, though, because when you started saying them, like, propeller, I'm like, flying a propeller. And then you're like, a propeller plane, he's flying it. And I'm like, oh, High Road to China.
Yeah. China, I knew China was involved.
Lassiter.
Yeah.
What was that? I'm drawing a blank on one of the other ones. Anyway, he was supposed to be on. Just think of Tom Selleck with Han Solo.
He would.
I mean, not Han Solo, Indiana Jones.
Yeah. He would still be playing him.
But here's the thing. He probably wouldn't have been Magnum PI if he ended up being Indiana Jones.
That's true.
That's why he didn't, because he kind of committed to being Magnum PI.
I mean,
and Magnum PI shaped my teenage years.
Let's be honest.
I wanted to wear. I own one, but I wanted to wear, and I was Magnum one year for Halloween.
Could you think of a better job?
I have the fleur-de-lis ring.
Oh, can you think of a better gig than being a TV actor based in Hawaii?
Oh yeah.
I mean, like that is the ultimate dream. Like it's like kind of
You know,
relaxed hours. You're driving in Hawaii.
My sister was in Hawaii a number of years ago, and they were out looking at properties. And guess what? Robin's Nest was up for sale, and she goes, it was in bad shape. She goes, it needed rehab work done on it. It was not
all
taken
paid
care
for
of.
that.
Well, they were looking for places to possibly buy in Hawaii and do an Airbnb,
Can you imagine?
It was way out of their price range, but she goes, it's out of our price range because the money they wanted for it, it was almost like, well, this was in Magnum PI. Well, great, but this place is falling apart, and we're gonna have to put a bunch of money into fixing it up. This is a number of years ago.
And then you'd have
5
to
years
put
ago or something. Maybe somebody bought it and it was rehabbed it or something. But
did that come with the Ferrari that you'd have to buy to drive it around?
Do you know how cool it'd be to Hawaii drive
pulling out of that house in your Hawaiian shirt and that Ferrari?
Oh, forget about it. That was my childhood, and then having like TC and Rick as my best friends.
Yeah, could not believe having a best friend with a helicopter. I thought that was the greatest
that you went
thing
to
ever.
the Vietnam War with.
Yes,
so close with, and then Michelle, his wife.
Yep.
Smoke show, and then all the hot chicks he was banging every time.
They could have offered me any role, and I'm like, you know what, guys, I'm just gonna ride this PI thing.
You can be Indiana Jones or you could be Magnum PI. That would be, I would have to sit and ponder that. Knowing the knowledge we have today about how successful Indiana Jones was and how iconic it is, but you also, as somebody who was a religious man who's just into Magnum PI. And how special that show is and how many seasons it ran.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he eventually in those last couple seasons was making some serious per episode and stuff. I would have a real hard time picking one of those two roles.
Oh, I would have picked Magnum.
I think I would have picked Magnum. Just off the top of my head, but I'd have to sit and go through all the numbers. And
they'd be like, look, here's the deal. All right, you have a choice. You can sit here and drive a Ferrari in one of the most beautiful places on earth, surrounded by women. You're already famous. You're already very wealthy.
Yeah.
Or we could sit you in the middle of a Syrian desert where you'll probably end up getting, Montezuma's revenge. You're going to shoot this movie, which is great.
I don't think Montezuma was.
Well, look, I'm sure he'll get the runs wherever you go in Syria. I know that's what nearly took out Harrison Ford when the whole scene where he pulled out a gun and shot the guy with the sword because he was really sick. And I'm like, that could have been you. Like you could have been out in 150-degree heat with sand, working crazy hours with the shits, or you could stay here in this tropical paradise doing this cushy job.
But Indiana Jones is a pretty iconic.
Character. But you know what? So it's Magnum. I would have chose Magnum. I'd have been like,
I would have chose Magnum. But with that being said,
how many years?
It would have been a hard choice.
How many years was Magnum on air? Yeah. So you can do 8 years of the greatest role ever, or 3 movies.
The last season wasn't as good because they had planned on stopping it.
Yeah.
If you read the history of, I read stuff about the history of Magnum PI. They thought they were going to be done at season 7, and then they decided to do season 8. So he was shot and dying at the end of season 7.
Whoops!
And then they bring him back in season 8. But season 8 was all right. But it was probably was it season? Yeah, it was season 8. Yeah, I don't even know if it was a full season, if I remember. It's been a long time. There's too much stuff in my brain. I'm getting too old. But that's why I choose. So anyway. We got really off track there. But good writing, good shows. I think the heyday is reached, but we get real in-depth shows now. Like Bad Monkey, they couldn't put that on network TV.
No.
You couldn't put the stuff that they put on a lot of these streaming services on network TV. So I don't know if I wouldn't say we're out of the network TV, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It died probably in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
As soon as streaming services, as soon as Netflix really started, well, that was probably more in the last 14 years, maybe 12 to 14 years.
Now, I think as soon as premium, like Breaking Bad, Sopranos, some of these AMC shows, people were like, oh, we can do really good shows.
Yes.
And get more freedom than a network.
Because I think sometimes we're just we look back and we go, well, Game of Thrones was a long time ago. It didn't start until 2010, 2009.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, where it ran for a while, but there's long gaps.
Yep.
Between. So anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
Watch Bad Monkey.
Bad Monkey is great.
Let's move on to the Outbound Flight.
All right.
I finished reading it.
That was quick for you. That's what,
17
17 hours. Yeah, man.
But over Labor Day weekend, I spent a lot of time doing manual labor outside. So I was
That's
listening
perfect.
to it. I finished that book. I finished like 7 hours of that book and 4 hours of another book that over the weekend. So
It's the best when you're doing manual labor and you're just letting your mind wander while you're working.
yeah, I'm repairing fence and cleaning the basement, doing yard work and all, I'm just listening to Outbound Flight and Timothy Zahn's Mastery.
Ooh.
So I think, I actually went and looked, and I don't believe Timothy Zahn has any books now that are Star Wars that I have not read.
Good.
So the first thing I want to say is shout out. I was really sitting there thinking, and there's there's other good Star Wars writers from the past too, but there's three Timothy Zahn, amazing writer. He's won awards for non-Star Wars stuff, but his Star Wars books and his character of Thrawn and the Chiss, he's the one who created all that.
Yeah.
The Heir of the Empire stuff. But now I look back and I go, I should have read. If you're going to read the books, you got to do them. Here's the order I would recommend.
Yeah.
Since now they're all out,
Mm-hmm.
you know kind of how the story goes. I would recommend reading the Chiss Ascendancy, Thrawn, where Thrawn's character gets developed from youth throughout.
Start with that.
Hit Outbound Flight.
Yep.
And then Heir to the Empire.
Oh, that's a good 7 books right there.
That's well, it's a lot of hours of listening, but let me tell you, that arc right there where you're gonna know Thrawn a whole lot. Like when I read Heir to the Empire, all I knew of Thrawn was what I read in Heir to the Empire. And then this whole backstory was later written about him and all this. So Thrawn he's right up there. Sometimes in the books, he may be my favorite character in the books now that I think about it.
Thrawn? Okay.
All right. I'll still say Luke, but
I was gonna say Luke's always mine.
Luke's arc is so good in the books. This is only the books, not the crappy sequel trilogy or any of that. Luke's arc is so amazing, and what he does is so amazing. So Luke is, but Thrawn would be second.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else that is that. I mean, I like Mara Jade. I like a lot of the other Jedis that are in it. Jason Solo and Janice Solo are awesome characters, but Thrawn in the books, in the extended universe or legends or whatever you want to call it, Thrawn, all those he has books, just the Chiss Ascendancy books. I always forget what the name of it is. It's the Thrawn Ascendancy or Chiss Ascendancy or whatever. It's a Chiss Ascendancy, but I don't know how he titled the books or whatever. But there's basically books about the Chiss.
I mean, you've read 75,000
but the main
books,
character is Thrawn.
Yeah.
And then there's Alliances, which has Thrawn and Vader working together.
Yeah.
But how Thrawn came to be. And then the Outbound Flight, you realize, Sidious knew of Thrawn long before Thrawn ever came to the Empire.
Oh, yeah.
He knew him before, and he never knew it before this book. So, but he had dealings with Sidious in the Outbound Flight towards the end of the book. So you're like sitting there going, now I have more.
Yeah.
Now I have bigger part of the story. So that's the order I'd recommend. The Chiss Ascendancy books that were basically Thrawn's books written by Timothy Zahn, Outbound Flight, Heir to the Empire. And if you aren't ready to strangle Kathleen Kennedy at the end of those books and thinking what they could have done with Heir to the Empire, but let's say they did one movie about Thrawn before doing like wrapped his Chiss history and how he came into the Empire a little bit into like a movie, and then did Heir to the Empire in screenplay form. Those 3 books. I mean, we're talking blockbuster. We're talking, if you can transfer what Timothy's on, have him write a screenplay for it.
Yeah, why not?
He has written for it. I don't know why they don't do this stuff.
I don't know either. It's like printing money.
I don't want to say, because I don't know. I don't ever want to be a part of Hollywood, and I would never want to be. But I sit there and I go, all right, I'm a pretty smart guy.
Yep.
And I know, like, I watch other YouTubers, pretty smart, but I also have a bit mind for business and stuff. And it's like, why would you go and try to appeal to other? Like, I get you want to bring in young woke people nowadays, right? Influencer types, they're all into this. All right, you can try bring, but guess what? They get brought in if you give them a good product.
Yeah.
Good writing, good story, good characters. They're going to come in. You don't have to make the main character a
Sexy,
transgender,
a
black
sexy sis.
skinned, whatever. You could. They're going to go watch a good movie for a good movie. They're not going to. You think that if you go watch a movie and you go, I feel underrepresented in that movie, then you shouldn't be going and watching any movies. You fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Go watch. I don't ever go to a movie going, oh, we need some white male characters in here more. Do you ever go to like have expectations when you watch a TV show or a movie?
I don't
Now you
count the
notice it
diversity.
really. You really notice it when there's no straight white characters in it. You go, oh, there's a lot of transgender, lesbian, polyamorous. Everybody's skin's a different color except for white. You notice it, but I don't care if the writing's good and the story's good. I don't pay hardly any attention to it. You notice it because you know what I notice more is the words and the way they say things.
I wouldn't notice
not how I would ever talk to another human being, but it's Hollywood talk.
I wouldn't notice race unless it was a poorly written show. Like if it was a really good show,
The Acolyte,
I would have been like, I didn't even know that all these people were crazy. And then, but if it's bad,
The Acolyte,
or you see some like propaganda going on in it, and then
The Acolyte,
I see that.
So yes.
So yeah.
Every time you said bad propaganda, those things, it's definitely The Acolyte. So, The Outbound Flight is such a good book, and if you were to take those books in order by Timothy Zahn, you would have blockbusters.
Yeah.
You would have an amazing story written, and all the people like us that are the fans, guess what? All of us became fans because of the story, the characters, what George Lucas brought to the world. And when you go away from that, you fail. You can try to bring other people in. Maybe there's a lesbian or a gay couple in a ship. This is the problem is like the whole ship, like the same with Star Trek. They make the whole story about that stuff when that's not the story. Those characters can have that story arcs, right?
Yeah.
You know, the two gay guys are fighting or unhappy with each other instead of a man and a woman. Great. But it doesn't have to be like the whole shtick for a whole episode. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean.
Though there should be a big, huge story and everybody coming together, good versus evil, shades of gray. Oh, I have a hard decision to make, not who and what the people are. You know what I mean? It has to be a good story. So if you do that, so I sit there and I go, I don't like to sit there and go, because I've never done her job and never did a thing. But if in 2011 or 12, I was put in charge of Lucasfilms, it would be so much more successful than it is today from the decisions she made. Probably because I'm outside of Hollywood and I don't make stupid decisions that based on, the woke stuff and the propaganda and the liberal ideas and stuff. I'm thinking strictly like Star Wars fans will like this. I'm going to be true to George Lucas's vision, and then that's going to keep bringing more people in because they're going to be inspired by these new films.
I told you what I would have done. I would have just gone to the books and be like,
that's what I would have done. I would have went through that exact series. I would have said, all right, instead of, making Han Solo movie, even Rogue One, which I liked, I would have said, all right, we got to start building to the future, the next phase. And we want, and I would have recast Luke. I would have recast Leia.
Yeah.
I went down the path we went to. I made them a little bit older.
Yeah.
But they're too old by the time we got there. They're senior citizens when we need them to be in their upper 20s, early 30s,
Yeah.
All the way through up until they're like the age that they were, but maybe even shoot some scenes or do some AI creation with them or film them doing some stuff that you're going to do down the road. You pre-plan all of this, right?
You could have totally made this.
Hollywood tries to think about 5 minutes down the road instead of 5 years down the road and 25 years down the road. Because they only think, because I may not be in the shop. Well, if I'm going to make Star Wars great again, if I'm going to go in, let's say I went in 2011, 12, and I was going to plan it out, and I had the knowledge of what was in the books.
Yeah.
Like I just read Outbound Flight. I always
Yeah.
put it off. I always said, I'm not going to read it. I didn't even realize Timothy Zahn wrote it until recently. That's what sped it up for me. Like, Timothy Zahn wrote the Outbound Flight? Wait a second. I thought this was just about some Jedis going out in the flight. I didn't know Timothy Zahn. I didn't know Thrawn was in it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because it kind of got put off to the side. It was never on my wish list. I kind of went through, and then this year, me recategorizing it, I want to read everything pre-Disney.
Yeah.
You know, like every book I haven't read, and then I reread a bunch of books I had already read because it's been so many years. And I want to do that. And now I'm like getting such a better picture of even what's out there and what could have been done. I had that epiphany when that book got done. I'm just like, read The Chess Ascendancy, then read Outbound Flight, right into Heir to the Empire. I mean, you literally have 6 movies.
Yeah.
Then 7 movies right there.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to touch on some new eras.
See,
because the Outbound Flight was like Obi-Wan was training Anakin.
You could have done
Holy
this.
crap, what you could have done.
You could have done this like what Marvel did. Like Marvel thought originally, like the first 10 years of Marvel, they thought ahead. Like they introduced all of these characters.
And how good was it?
Yeah, and brought them as eventually. Imagine if you would have done
piece by piece. It's what I would have done with Star Wars.
You could have done the Thrawn Chiss Ascendancy, and then when you brought him in on another movie, people would have been like, "Oh, we saw him in his own."
I would
now
not
he's
go
in
so
there.
far to say I'm a genius.
Yeah,
I do not feel I'm a genius, but I feel I'm a pretty smart guy.
I mean, for a nerd, yeah. I mean,
I'm a critical thinker.
Yeah, you are.
I'm a planner.
Unfortunately,
you know, in those things. But I look and I go, I guarantee you right now, if I would have been put in, and I'm an outsider, but if you were to put me in charge and give me full authority like they gave Kathleen Kennedy to do back in 2011-12, because she had worked with some of those people before and she'd been involved in the community. If you put, maybe they need to bring an outsider in that has nothing. I don't want, I'm not saying like bring in somebody like me, but bring in somebody who really is an outsider and who really loves George Lucas's vision.
And knows
I don't even think it's Dave Filoni. I think I've lost.
I've not yet given up hope.
I'm not convinced about Filoni anymore. But right now he's the best hope we got, him and Favreau. But they're still a little too Hollywoodish to me. You bring in people that want to tell the story and good stories, not care about, I'm going to cast this character, maybe white, maybe black. They may have a penis and breasts, but whatever. I'm casting the best actor. I don't care about their politics. I don't care. This guy can really, this is what I want for the role. This girl, I want her for the role.
Yep.
You know, I envision, like if you go by the books, you know what's male and female. I'm not changing characters. Just like, Superman's not black. Sorry. He's white. He always has been.
If you want a black Superman, invent another character.
Yeah. Do the boys, and
I
don't know why they made him a white man though, huh? Oh, he's evil. The main character.
And the comic, they're all white.
Oh, so see, they switched it up a lot then.
Yeah. Oh, they changed a lot. The comic's way more violent, way more sadistic.
When I think of Blade, I don't think of you should cast a white guy as Blade.
Yeah.
I think that's a black man.
Yep.
Cast him how it's written. Cast him how it happened in the past. Don't like. I don't know. You're more familiar with the comics. But is there any characters that were of another color that they changed to be in white?
All the time. I really got out of Marvel when they
I'm talking when they made TV shows.
Yeah,
those type of things.
Yeah, they will switch gender more than anything. Like, they hit Spider-Man and then they're like, oh, now we got Spider-Woman.
Oh yeah, they've added, but they're characters. They're still Spider-Man.
I've always said instead of taking a well-known character and making they were going to have Michael B. Jordan be Superman for a long time.
Yeah. That was something.
And I was always like, well, I don't care if you have a black superhero.
Yeah.
But just write him as an original character. Why?
Look at what they had plans for Sentinel.
Yeah.
They were going to make him into an Asian guy, right?
Yeah.
He was originally cast, and that guy's a really good actor. But that's not, when I think of Sentinel, I think of a blonde-haired guy who's muscular.
Yeah. So I'm like,
not a small Asian dude.
Instead of instead of saying, all right, well, let's just do another Superman, but make him black, I'm like, well, that's boring. And I think that's lowering it down. Why don't you make a superhero that's black and make him his own character and make it good?
It's like the South Park skit.
Yeah.
With Kathleen Kennedy.
Make him gay. Yep.
Make him a lesbian. Make him a woman. You know,
I don't understand. So there's a lot of comic creators that express the same thing I do. And it's like instead of taking someone else's work,
let's have some good new ideas out there too, like new superheroes. Superheroes. Yes, I'm partial. The Boys is not really my bag. It's a little kind of over the top-ish for me. I like a little more, like you can take and give me Middle Earth or Game of Thrones, like it's an alternate universe. It's something out there.
Yeah.
But when you take the real world and like amp it up too much, or you take superheroes and amp it up and make it like just over the top, it just, I don't know. Like I like meat and potatoes. I don't need, all like maybe it's really good, but the Boys writing and it just doesn't seem to have a lot of substance to me. You know what I mean? I get it.
It's very satire.
It's just Bad Monkey. Something new, something well written, something done where I'm like, oh, I'm into this. These characters are great, and it's believable. And then the narration of it, I really love the narration and the way it's brought together. I know I haven't read the book, and which I did.
You know what's crazy about Bad Monkey?
What?
They have black people in it. They have Hispanic people in it.
Yeah.
They have all kinds of diversity in it.
And I didn't even until you said it right now, I didn't even think about it. Except for
but you know what?
I brought up the Vince Vaughn and the hot Hispanic lady. Rosa. I don't know where she's from. They don't say I'm Cuban.
Yeah. But
to represent the Cuban community, just like she's Hispanic. They start talking in Spanish. I'm like, okay. I don't know what she is. Vince Vaughn's a tall white guy.
So it is completely.
You and I were talking about the witch lady.
Oh, she's hot.
He's like, I think we both think she's hot.
Yeah.
But she's as dark black as you get.
Oh my gosh.
And we both think she's hot.
Chocolate. Yeah. So you can like diversity is what I'm saying. If
and
it's done
her character.
Yeah. Oh, her character's awesome.
It's well written and she's a great actress. She's believable.
Yeah. So you do like shows with diversity. That's my whole point out. It just has to be well written.
It has to be well written, and let's get some creativity out there. And the whole show shouldn't be about the diversity. You don't think about that's what we're saying. You don't think about the diversity. This wasn't even part of the topics.
I know.
We're totally off the rails.
But this is what we do.
That's what we do. But yeah, because it really relates to all the stuff that we love. Is they're screwing it all up by trying to make it something that it's not.
Yeah.
They're trying to fit genres and sexes and skin colors in when you don't need to. Have those? If you're the girl who played Osha and May, I don't like her personally. I've seen stuff, her videos, and she hates this, and she's like real against us. Yeah, we're bad people, right? Because we didn't like her show, and we must be racist because we don't like her show. Not that it was poorly written; it was stupid. It went against freaking canon. It was just a steaming pile of crap.
Yeah,
it wasn't because of that. It was because of us racist white guys and us people. Oh, you're alt-right and all this stuff. It's like, bitch, and I'll call you a bitch because you're acting like a bitch.
Definitely not made for kids. Gotta put on the explicit on this one.
Bitch, shut the fuck up.
Your
show sucked. You were not that great of an actress because your Osha was not believable. Maybe she was well written and you didn't pull it off. But I think she was poorly written. We don't want to see characters that flip-flop back and forth and can't make up their fucking mind and have no fucking integrity and no fucking focus in their life. And both those characters flip-flopped I don't know how many times. It's ridiculous. It's a horrible show, horribly written, horrible ideas. We've said it 1,000 times now.
Yeah.
This is 1,001. And we don't
1002.
care that you're a black woman. You just sucked. You could have been a white dude. Soul's an Asian dude. He overplayed his character. It was over the top. That's not a Jedi. Jedis don't act like that. He didn't act like any Jedi.
No.
There's Jedis in the books that have emotion and feelings, and they're maybe a little more unstable than your Yodas and your Mace Windu. Even Mace Windu had an anger streak. He had to really battle not going to the dark side because he had those tendencies to want to dish out harsh punishment, But he was able to conquer those things. Great. Mace Windu, was he part? Did George Lucas create that character for Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
didn't-
It's a black male who's bald and a Jedi Master,
Hey,
and
easy with the
basically,
baldness.
hey, I'm there too. I can say whatever I want about bald people.
Yeah, I don't understand where she's coming from.
It just
I'm not
pisses
sure.
me
I'm
off.
sure there was a lot of toxic hate that probably involved race to her. But for me personally, I never thought once, okay, I don't like that her character is black. I just thought it was a crappy character.
Make her a lesbian.
Like she could have been any color, and I would have been like, yeah, it's still a crappy character.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
I
the
don't know,
problem.
That's
is
what I don't get.
I love Mace Windu. What a great character.
Mhm.
I don't care what his skin color was. I never watched once the prequels and went, oh, look at they're putting a black man in charge.
Yeah.
I don't think that way.
Next thing you know, there will be a Wookiee Jedi. Oh, well, they'll let
And
anybody.
And I would have loved the Wookiee Jedi, except for the fact that he got his ass whipped by a little Asian Sith
Hey,
who's really only a dark Jedi. He's not really a Sith.
no.
Anyway, I don't know. We got off that. It just gets me fired. Like
Yeah.
we should just talk only. We should just not even talk. Everything comes back to Star Wars.
Everything comes back.
because
What was the superhero that Will Smith played?
Hancock. I
Yeah.
love that show.
That is my point
That was a
about
great- yeah.
making a black Superman. I'm like, I love that on so many levels. It's like they didn't recycle a same old thing.
No,
They,
Hancock was great. Yeah,
I
that
loved it.
great example.
Yeah, I'm like, that's what they should do. Don't make Superman black. Make a different version of Hancock. I would have loved to see a Hancock who was like Superman powered and dealing with the racism. He would have been like, call me the N-word one more time. And he would have like launched a guy to the moon. I would have loved it. Like, just don't tread on stuff that's already there. Make up new territory. And I thought Hancock was a perfect example.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you. I couldn't
is
think of that name.
Outstanding. I had not thought about that movie in a long time.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Oh, that movie.
I watched that movie several times. When
Yeah.
it came out, I went and saw it at the theater, and then I
Yeah.
watched it one other time. No, I watched it maybe 3 times because I watched it when it came out.
Yeah.
Remember when you used to mail discs back? On Netflix?
Yes.
I think I watched it then when it first came out, and then I think I watched it on whatever streaming.
I just
service later
watched
on.
the unedited version not that long ago. It's so
I don't
good.
think I've ever watched the unedited version.
Yeah, it's when
Does
that
it have a lot
he's
better?
having sex with the hooker, and like he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna," and then you just see like the roof of his trailer like explode out. You know, it's just
All right,
Yeah, a lot of stuff on there.
I'm
I
gonna
was
look
like,
at the
oh.
extended cut. Then I never
Yeah.
looked at the.
I was like, "That's so good."
Dude, we went from Outbound Flight to Hancock.
Yeah.
Going-
But I'm like, I'm just trying
Anyway,
to prove a point that
Outbound Flight.
you're not against diversity.
No.
You're against diversity for diversity's sake. But
There is us rare people out there, meaning a large percentage of the country, that
Mhm.
just care about merit.
yeah,
Are you a good person? Do you do the right thing when nobody's looking?
Yeah.
You know, do you treat people respectfully? Are you nice to people? I don't look at skin color and go, oh, this person's a bad person because they have black skin. That's the stupidest thing ever. You judge somebody by the character and
Yeah.
who they are. You don't judge people. If somebody is a piece of shit, I just won't be around them.
yeah,
And I don't care about it in acting. I don't care about it in singing. I like all different types.
yeah.
I go from gangster rap to country.
That is
it's
unfortunately true, and we hear it in the
100%
gym.
true. When I was a teenager, all I wanted to do was listen to rap, and I bumped my fucking big ass fucking speakers in my car. And then when I got older, I turned into my parents and started listening to country music.
So I want to make this point too, because someone did leave a comment on when my Twitter. Yes, we actually have people listen new and then comment. It's rare, but unlike some bros, I answer back.
Yeah, I'm not good with that.
Sometimes when Casey goes
I'm
off,
gonna try to get better with it.
people think that he is like a MAGA loving, race hating person. And I know Casey. And at the gym, we have very liberal leaning people. We have very conservative people. We've had people of all races and colors.
And they're all good people.
Casey gets along with them great. You can actually have
We don't talk
conversations.
politics really, but
No, but I mean, Our
Well-
politics don't 100% line up,
No.
and you're still one of my best friends. Casey is just Casey. That's how I always explain to you. Like, he gets
Yeah.
along with everybody as long as you're cool.
I
And
judge
then-
people
and then
on
if
their
you're not-
character and who
not.
they are,
Yeah.
not their skin color,
So-
not who they're going to vote for.
Yeah,
You know, it doesn't make you a bad person if you vote for Kamala. It makes you ignorant, but
I knew it was coming.
and not paying attention to what her
I
real philosophy
knew it
of
was
politics
coming.
is, and what
Even if
direction our country is going.
Even if she's
I'm not a
strangely
huge
hot.
Donald Trump fan. You could never call me a Trumper because I would have voted for Nikki Haley over Donald Trump. But I will be vote. I don't hate him.
Is it weird that I still find Kamala strangely hot? I mean, there's just something about
When
it.
I see her,
Maybe
I
a
get
woman
nauseous.
of power.
I think-
I don't know.
I don't care about her having
Okay.
power, you know, and like I can even step aside and go when she was younger.
I'd be the
And
first
even
man.
right now, I wouldn't. It's her, she's worth nothing.
I would be the first.
As a
man.
human being, I have not seen anything that makes me find her attractive at all.
Oh.
Because she's a vacant vessel that will do what she's told. And I don't like that. I like people that are strong-willed.
Her sparkling brown eyes.
Yeah. So if you take the teleprompter and her speech out from in front of her, she's a complete shit show, and she does word soup.
I'm just saying.
I don't like her at all. She has no character and no belief. She'll do whatever she's told, and that's why they want her in there. That's why they put her forth, and that they tried to shine the piece of shit that she is up in the media. And I'm not a huge Trump fan either. I think we could do a whole lot better, except guess what? None of us people out there that are good people want to be in politics. It's all usually
Yep.
people that have their own motives and agendas and they want power. I don't care about that.
I don't find Trump hot. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Well, I find his wife hot.
Yeah. I
might get a look at her a couple times if she's on it. It's not about that. It's about the direction of our country.
I
And
like. For
I
some
would have
reason,
voted. You know what?
Kamala's hot.
I liked Nikki Haley,
She's hot.
but I think she's a more reasonable, well-spoken, and nicer person, but also very tough and has political beliefs that go along with mine. But I also like RFK a little bit and Tulsi Gabbard. I like some of their views. I don't want the government in my business. That's my libertarian side. Like, stay the fuck out of my business.
Kennedy, slightly.
And
hot.
I would like us to cut all of our spending at the federal and the state level. I'm a small government person. Let capitalism have the government give oversight,
Yeah.
but I don't want the government running financial stuff. I don't want the government making decisions for me in my life. Do some stuff to protect the country militarily. Have a little bit of the EPA, not the EPA, but maybe 25% of the EPA, where they're just making sure that corporations aren't screwing us over by dumping chemicals in places and stuff. But we don't need all the other bullshit. We don't need the global warming bullshit. We don't need all that. Let industry dictate what happens, and capitalism dictate that, not the government. That's my belief in how a country should run. It's the Constitution.
Wilson 2028.
I would not want to be a politician ever in my life. I'm way too honest to
Look,
be a
if this
politician.
doesn't drive clicks, because the one way you can drive clicks is throwing your politics out there, and if people are going to love it, or they're just going to call you a
This is two episodes in a row.
Russian communist.
We hardly talk about
pig.
any politics.
Oh,
in the
you're
past.
going all out. There's
I
no
guess
we.
I don't talk about it, so I have this underlying thing. And so
Yeah.
then when we get going on it in here, then I start
It just
spewing
comes
all
right
the
out.
stuff that I see. 'Cause I
Oh.
don't talk about it really ever, except for because, and also this is a place of it's you and me.
Yeah, it's a place of
And
acceptance.
Brad does not agree with everything that I say. You know, like he is a little.
I'm way more left leaning than you are, but I'm right down the middle.
Yeah, and I am honestly further towards the middle.
Yeah.
Then a lot, like I'm not a religious person. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like abortion, pro-choice. I also don't think you should be killing babies, you know, in the second trimester and the third trimester either. There shouldn't be abortions then. I don't think it should be used as birth control.
Look, I think you should be able to get rid of
But
your kids until they're 18.
There should be an option of pro-choice. And I think that it's after the
you can't.
And I'm a conservative, but I don't fall in these religious lines. I
Hey.
don't think that people should be restricted because the Bible says something.
You cannot.
But I also think
be
you should be-
gray. You have to be all black or all white.
I always said I
You
would
can't
be. No, I would
you
be.
can't be both.
I'd be the greatest Jedi ever.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, come on.
you fuck with me, I'll just kill you. You know what I mean? If I was a Jedi out there, you know what I mean? Let's say I'm a Jedi and you break in my house, I'll just
Yeah.
take the lightsaber out and just cut your head off. Like I'd say you picked the wrong house, motherfucker.
That's like me telling my left friends, I'm like, yeah, you can be Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter. Like
That's right.
you can be. You
remember the
police
uproar when
reform.
you remember how horrible a person moved? You said, "Well, all lives matter." The most reasonable thing you could possibly say is all lives matter, and they all do. Doesn't matter the skin color. Doesn't matter what sex you have sex with. It doesn't matter about any of that. Well, don't have sex with animals. But besides that, I don't. If you want, you know what? Sodomy is illegal in some states. I don't care if you want to have butt sex, have butt sex. I don't care. You want to marry a man? I could care less. You want to do shrooms and smoke weed?
Look.
I don't care. The government shouldn't be regulating us. If you want to do stuff that really like fentanyl or heavy drugs, methamphetamines and stuff, there should be regulation. You shouldn't be able to do this stuff. It just destroys communities, it destroys people, and it's super addictive. Mushrooms are not addictive. Hallucinogenics are not addictive. Smoking weed, I don't do it myself. I've tried a few times. I've had some edibles a few times. It doesn't do it for me. I'll take a glass of whiskey, please.
Oh, I like edibles.
Good whiskey or an old fashioned,
Yeah.
Good port wine. The government also, as a trainer, shouldn't be telling people what to eat.
No.
And I tell people what to eat all the time. I do. And
I know.
But I also think people should be penalized if you're a certain weight, your insurance costs more.
You know what? That is a good question. Not question.
I don't
That's a good policy.
BMI sucks, in my opinion. But if you get body fat, nowadays the technology is getting so good, you could put them on a bioimpedance, like a $10,000 machine, or do DECA scans. You have these in doctors' offices or places you go to get it done, and you can get premium insurance, just like life insurance.
Yeah.
Medical insurance should be just like life insurance. If you don't take care of your body and you treat yourself like shit, you got to pay more.
Yeah.
You know what?
I actually like that.
Just stuff like that. It's not hard. It's common sense.
For every burger you eat, we jack up your medical insurance $3.
And why is that so hard to figure out when even the what the liberals want to do is they want to charge you per mile you drive because they want to save the environment, which is a bunch of crap. But let's say you do that. How can you not transfer that to human beings though? Say, all right, like you said, oh, you like to go eat McDonald's all the time and your cholesterol level's this and you weigh 100 pounds over what your considered body weight is. Well, you're gonna pay all the insurance fees.
Look, I would be
and the consequence is you're just gonna die early.
I would do the same with gas. Like, oh, you want to drive your...
And Brad, who lost 88, 90 pounds, gets the heart surgery before the 150-pound overweight person because you earned it.
Yeah.
This should be
my medical insurance should drop
this is? It's called a meritocracy.
Yeah.
You have to live by the way you live.
All right, now you're getting me on your side. So Wilson 2028. You know what? You want to drive your...
what's funny is I don't
Hummer
talk about any of this ever.
You got to pay $10 for gas.
It's just reason. It's like, I don't know. How hard is it to just go be a libertarian / conservative and have some tendencies that may be over on the left side? But I also think religious people should have their ability to say what they want to say and believe what they want to say. Mm-hmm. And guess what? I like how the law is now. If your state says, like now, the federal government has deferred to the states again. Mm-hmm. It's all about federal and state rights, right? If your state has a bunch of conservative and a bunch of religious people in it, and they say abortions are outlawed, move. I'm planning on moving out of California in the next few years because it doesn't match up with where I believe you should govern and how you should run a state. And it doesn't go along my political and my beliefs and how you should live.
Oh, I'm staying in Cali.
So it doesn't. So I'm planning on moving. Now, do I want to move to a state where they're like going, you can't buy liquor on this day? I'm not going there.
So you're not going to Utah?
No, Utah is not.
It's going to like a dry state.
I'm not going to some place like that either because that doesn't go along with my beliefs because I'm not super religious. Do I believe in God? Do I believe that there's something else after we die? Yes. I'm not smart enough and I've never experienced enough. I've experienced ghosts. I've experienced some other things.
I'm not going to digress on that because I'll do.
We're getting close to that season. Right?
I know.
All right. So when do you have to be out of here?
In about 10 minutes.
All right.
But before we go, I want to say,
We still have other stuff to go through. That's the problem. We need to get to fitness stuff. We start talking politics.
yeah, well, you're just gonna have to wait until next Thursday. All right. If you have to have the 10 commandments in school, all right, I think you should also have the Hindu and the Buddhist and the
and some of those tenets
other
are
stuff.
just they go right
All
along
in there.
with the 10 commandments.
Yeah.
Some of them are a little more peaceful,
if
or
you're
a little
gonna,
more
you can't just pick
etheric.
one religion out of the basket.
Yeah.
You gotta
Although
have
this
all of
country
them
was founded
on religious freedom.
well on religious freedom, but Protestant work ethic. Protestant's a Christian religion, but I love a lot of stuff in the Hindu religion. I love a lot in the Taoists, the Buddhism.
Yeah.
There's so much great
Right
stuff
there.
out there. The Muslim religion is very similar to Christianity when you compare the stories. They have different things. The problem is they have some texts in there and they still live by them. When Christians don't, we don't go on crusades anymore and kill a bunch of people. We may invade a country.
Ooh, now you're going to drive up the clicks.
But
I know what the lead of this is.
but I'm not. There's Christians. There's
Casey craps on Allah.
Is there a church out there where the people are like, well, we should kill the infidels? They don't believe like us, so we should kill them. There's no Christian churches out there doing that I have seen. Like, we're gonna go kill all the Muslims because they're bad people. No, there's great. I've been friends with Muslims, with Pakistanis that were Muslim. I would be at their house and they would have to pray and they would stop and pray and I'd be quiet and silent.
This
respectful.
is Casey speaking to all the people out there.
So
Just,
so the Muslim religion, when
firebombing,
there's a lot of peaceful, great things in the Quran. I loved I read these big books that went over. I still have one, All the World's Religions, and it compares a lot of them, and it also gives comparisons and good and bad about them. But the problem is a lot of us grow past, like, there's scriptures in the Bible which are probably not that great, right?
No, there's some dudes.
We don't follow them anymore. We don't go, oh, well, we should do this,
Yep.
But unfortunately, in some countries that are underdeveloped, that haven't expanded their mental horizons, let's say, they haven't went to that point. And they think we're bad. You American pieces of shit that have computers and everybody looks at their phones.
I'm staying.
They think we're the problem.
I am.
No, what I'm saying is we should have all religions and respect all religions. That's one of the things this country is found on.
Yep.
But we can't have any religious stuff where we're going out and fighting other religions.
I can't wait to summarize this pod in the notes. Oh yeah, I
didn't know. Did I say anything wrong?
Did
I say anything that wasn't factually correct?
I'm going to pump up our numbers and just say that you come out and said that women should have no choice and that
I didn't say that. That's a lie.
Islam is crap. That's what's going to be the thing. And
that's not what I said either.
We'll see if we get some more engagement. It doesn't matter what you said.
I said that most of the religion, and unfortunately a small sect of people in that religion, and it is a small sect, although it's bigger than it seems to be growing in size recently.
I am just going to take
does some bad stuff and tries to justify it through the text. As Christians, we've moved past that. And I'm not a Christian either. I wouldn't call myself a Christian. I call myself a spiritual person.
Oh, yeah.
Who leans towards Christianity, who is raised in Christianity, who believes in the teachings of Jesus Christ, but doesn't really believe in all the other bullshit that came out.
The Quran is just...
No, I think the Quran's a very interesting book. It has a lot of great stuff in it. It also has some stuff in it that people still think is 100% true and they should act on it.
You know what? I'm going to take little out of context.
I've never said anything negative. I have
going to
friends
blow up
that are
podcast.
Muslim and they are great people.
Pun intended.
And their religion is great. They just have a few bad apples.
All right. All I heard
was the bad apples here go and protest outside of out of abortion clinics. They don't blow them up. And when they do, they go to jail. Because they're psychos.
Just going to really, we're going to get a good feedback on this one. I could tell. I'm really going to lay it down.
That's a very small percentage of what we talked about. Talk about politics. You can say we talked about politics. But in general, it's all about freedom. You should have the freedom to religion, a freedom to believe, to vote who you want to vote.
Mhm.
And
We ended on a happy note.
I was gonna dive into something deeper, and
No.
then I stopped.
Yeah, let's just say that this is a safe space.
No, it's not, because some people are triggered by words.
No, I'm talking about us in
when it
this
used to be war
us
and people
in
would
this
kill people and beat
podcast
them for
dojo.
things. Our words should not incite anyone.
Casey's Roseville Strength and Training is a safe place.
It is.
All are welcome at this table.
I've trained many different types of people.
We love everyone.
I've never trained a transgender, but I would.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
A lot of
there's stuff I
gay-
haven't told you
Gay
about.
males, lesbians. I don't care.
I haven't told
honestly
you
have
about
no
my
care whatsoever.
my birth name was Bregina,
Yeah.
and I am transitioning to a male. I have been for.
All right, I take it back. I have trained one transgender that I know of.
So
Maybe I've trained other transgenders that have already went through the process.
I don't know.
I want to know because I don't ask, because I don't care.
I will say that I followed this guy on TikTok, and I followed him for he's like really smart on war things like naval war. And I followed him, and I just learned that he was a girl. And you look at him, and I'm like, there's no way I ever would have known. I mean, he has more facial hair than I do. He's jacked more than me. He has a deeper voice. He's got like these scars and tattoos. And I'm like,
I like a lot of
Well,
paranormal
shocked.
shows. I like a lot, and most of those people
shocked.
are they got different color hair, they got
Yeah.
piercings all over, they got tats all over. They're not people that I would go, oh, if I was, but they love paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
And some of them are wackos, but most of them are just regular old people, and they love that stuff. And they like to, I don't tap myself up. I don't pierce my nose. I don't do my hair color, an unusual color like green or blue or red or something.
Yeah.
My son likes to dye his hair. I don't care. I'm like, looks fun. He goes, you don't like it, do you? And I'm like,
It's not
do
my
you ca-
hair.
Do you care if I like it or not?
Yeah.
I go, it's your hair. And I'm going to treat you the same way, whether you have red hair or purple hair or not.
That's true.
I don't give a crap.
This fitness center is a
Because
place
it's
of
all
work.
about meritocracy. Be a good person, and I will treat you with love and respect if you treat me with love and respect.
All right, get us out of here.
No, let's
Club
talk
it.
some more.
I gotta go.
I'm rolling now.
Well, we can pause it. You can keep going.
No. So next time we'll talk a little bit about working through injuries. We did not get that today. And I did have a whole mindset of what we were going to talk about, like the different authors.
Yeah.
Inside Star Wars that are amazing. There's 3 of them that I love the most. We
cool.
talked about Timothy Zahn, but there was a couple others that are.
Timothy Zahn's got to start number 1.
He's number 1. He's numero uno. But there's a few others that are really good. So we'll talk about those maybe next time. And we won't talk politics next time. Well, we probably will.
Yeah, we will.
You know
I'll
what?
get him sidetracked.
I don't watch mainstream news or anything, but I do read a lot. And right now it's everywhere. All over social media. It's all over every email I get, like everybody is talking about because the election's coming up. So I don't mind talking politics. I just don't sit there. I don't get angry.
Yeah.
Like, I hate Kathleen Kennedy. I get angry about what she's done to Star
Here we
Wars.
go.
And I will riff.
You got one more
When it
minute.
comes to politics, I'm going to give you my opinion. I'll give you how I feel about things and what I think is right.
You
or
don't
wrong.
hold back. That is
No.
clear. We've learned that.
And I don't think I'm saying anything wrong. It's not like I'm coming out and saying bad stuff about people. I'm just saying I don't care about those things. Correct?
Are you going to throw up your website?
No.
All
Trump2024.com.
right, that's it.
No.
I got to go.
Roseville Strength and Conditioning,
Okay,
rsc.com.
fine. We'll put it on.
Instagram, Roseville Strength and Conditioning. If you need some help with your fitness and your health and getting your life better and improving the quality of your life or doing a Spartan race, reach out. We'll get you going.
All right, my
That's
friend.
it.
Now that's it.